Hey everybody, this is Robert Steinman, your host of Random Encounter, the RPG fan podcast. Just wanted to give everybody a little heads up here. We're going to be talking about Final Fantasy 15 for about the first 45 minutes of the episode. I don't think we really go into any spoiler territory. We were very careful of that, but I know a lot of people are very concerned. So this is your warning. If you're really worried about Final Fantasy 15 spoilers, please skip ahead to minute 45. Thanks, everybody. Hello and welcome to episode 120 of Random Encounter, the RPG fan podcast. I'm your host, Robert Steinman, Pale Robbie on the boards. Joining me today is, I don't think I've ever mentioned that your picture is you, Derek, with a slime on your head.
Yeah, that is factual information. That's my Twitter profile picture, too. Hey, I'm Derek Heemsbergen. I'm Embryon on the boards, even though I never post there. And, yeah, I'm ready to talk about some video games.
Have you beaten Dragon Quest VII yet, Mr. Heemsbergen?
No, but I owe you a beer or 12.
Damn straight
for
you
beating.
did.
There's so much on my plate right now, man. I want to, though. I beat Pokemon Sun, and then I did all the post-game stuff in that, and I was like, all right, it's time for me to get back on that Dragon Quest train, and I booted it up, and I was like, what's going on?
Yeah, that's kind of the problem. By using so many assets over and over again, we talked about on the last show, that game gets a little like, wait, this was the village that did what now? Was this the one where like people were animals, or was this the one where like people were stone? I can't remember which one this is.
Which is why I'm glad that this one has the built-in functions for like the story so far, and then the fragment finder. Otherwise, I would have absolutely no clue what to do.
Wait, was the beer for enjoying it or for not enjoying it?
No, he
for
beat
finishing it.
Yeah,
good job.
Because I didn't think that Rob was even going to like Dragon Quest VII. I was like, Rob, you are too damn stubborn and bullheaded about traditional RPGs, and like
sounds about right. Yeah.
Yeah, but no, not only did he buy it, he enjoyed it and beat the damn thing. So I owe him.
You got to remember, I did beat Dragon Quest IX, and I wasn't a huge fan of that game. I think I like this one a little bit better than 9, but I really wish I could have been able to play 9 multiplayer, but, you know, that's neither here nor there. The person who was cutting in there was Steph Canadian Bacon Sabidlo.
Thanks.
No, somebody had to explain to me, Jackie had to explain to me what Canadian Bacon was last night when we're at the movie tavern, so I can have a beer while I'm watching Rogue One, and I was very confused because the last time I got a burger from them, and it was a bacon burger, there was just a slab of ham on my burger. And so I'm asking the waitress, like, what is the deal here? Like, why did ham come out of my burger? And Jackie's like, you idiot, it's Canadian bacon. That's what it is. And
I love how quick you are to crap all over Canada, like, whenever given the opportunity, and yet you're so ignorant.
Well, I mean, I'm looking for houses
You're
there
like the
right
South
now,
Park explanation for how Canada seems.
You know what, Steph, with your flappy head, all right, I can't do. I went to
Canada.
Canada.
Hey, Robert, how you doing?
I went to Canada in South Park, The Stick of Truth, and it was an 8-bit RPG.
That's how it really looks, right?
You got cured of it.
Oh my God.
Please talk like that always and forever.
No, I don't want to hear about Noctis like that. Please don't do
Robert,
that.
anything.
Oh my God. All right, moving on. We also have Caitlin. Final Fantasy 15 is the greatest game ever made, and anyone who disagrees with me shall be shanked. Argyros.
Yeah, I didn't say that.
No,
So.
you said it was better than 12. I heard you say it.
No. That would have to be some feat for me to say it's better than 12, because everyone knows how much I love 12. Although it's an interesting comparison because 12 also had similar problems in both its development, well, not that bad, but similar developmental problems and issues with its story, so it's kind of fitting that we're talking about 15. Link is our on the boards, and I have thoughts. Some of them good, some of them bad, and anyone's guess as to which is which.
That'd be a good blog thing. I have thoughts.
I have thoughts.
By Caitlin.
Thoughts will be had. Everybody put down the knives.
No. Remember the SNL skit? deep thoughts.
Oh God, yes, with Jack Handy. Oh my God. And finally, we have the dulcet baritone tones of Robert Fenner, ladies and gentlemen, The Quiet Storm.
Towns Carmarty on the boards, or as I'm now known on Tumblr, Prompto Lover 420.
Wait.
Oh my God.
Are you saying there's only 419 other Prompto lovers?
No, I like that
Yeah, they were
420 date.
taken.
Oh dear God. Okay. All
It's
right.
nice to be back on the air with you all again. It's been a while, and it's nice to join Steph on a podcast for the first time.
You too.
It's almost like we're on a little road trip of our own.
Aww.
Well, as
But
long
with
as we
girls.
Yeah, I'm down. We talked about that on the last show. If they make Final Fantasy 15 2 and it's a bunch of drag queens driving through Duscae, I am on board. Like,
But then they'd still be men.
Yeah, drag queens are guys.
Okay,
Yeah,
drag
but wouldn't
kings.
What an odd
okay,
point.
drag
What an
queens.
odd
Yes,
thing.
drag kings. Yes. All right. How about that?
Okay, that I'm down for.
That could be cool. All right. Well, I just want it to be Tu Wong Fu. Like, that's all I want. All right. I talked about that.
Well, I want a lot of things to be Tu Wong Fu, but I don't always get my way, Rob.
Patrick Swayze, we really miss you. Did I tell you guys that one of my colleagues is actually like directly related to Patrick Swayze? Like, was his cousin. That's kind of neat. Yeah. Well, and now I'm depressed.
And does your uncle work at Nintendo too?
So my uncle at Nintendo told me that like Final Fantasy VII is coming to the N64 and it's gonna have all the cutscenes and way better graphics.
Oh my
Okay,
God.
I'm telling you guys.
True.
Anywho, so before we start talking about Final Fantasy 15, I need to take a second and thank Kira Bright, who sent me an email directly saying, you're having control issues in Final Fantasy 15. Do me a favor and switch over to type B or C. And holy crap, my enjoyment level of this game went up like 3,000% because I can actually move the camera and dodge at the same time without...
I changed after you bragged about it, actually, and it is better.
It is way better! Did you go with B or C?
No, B.
Okay, so for those that don't know, Control Type B for Final Fantasy 15 makes it so that dodge is now on L2 and attack is on square. So you can easily attack things, start dodging, and then use your, right hand the way God intended, and your right thumb, and pan around the environment a little bit and find things.
As God intended.
Yeah, well, it doesn't make sense to have square and circle handle all the attack and defense because then you have no way of dealing with the game's unruly camera. Type C goes so far as to put attack on R2. So at that point, Final Fantasy 15, the road trip game, actually becomes a driving simulator.
So where does Type 0 fit into all this?
Type 0 was so you could get the demo for 15.
Yes.
No, but like it is so bewildering to me that Type B or Type C are not the default controls on this game. It feels like you are playing the worst control scheme one could imagine for this game.
I don't know. I tried them and I stuck with Type A. I mean, part of it is...
I beat the game with Type A.
Yeah, 15 is not the only game in the world that has you controlling a camera while you should also be using the face buttons. You kind of get used to it after a while. So.
Yeah, but when I'm getting like my face torn off by like some little beastie that's like moving through the environment so fast, like that's annoying.
But you're getting your face torn off anyway because you can't see what they're doing because they're all over you. That has nothing to do with you being able to rotate the camera. It has to do with there being way too many enemies and not being able to track what they're doing. Which
it's not
even when they're
one-to-one
in plain
character
view.
action.
No, I would agree with you, but I am saying that like some fights that I found very, very difficult with the Type A control scheme, when I switched over to B, I was finding the whole game much more manageable and just more fun. Like it was easier for me to get those blindside attacks. Like I was able to actually like move around and feel in control. Like I wasn't taking my thumb off of square to then press circle to dodge. Like I could just be sitting there like instantly switching over to dodge that much faster. It bewilders me. I get that you guys don't have a huge issue with those controls, and I've said it before on the podcast. I am very sensitive to controls in video games, but like it is, especially for the American audience, that feels asinine for them to have just gone with Type A.
Not to go on too much of a tangent, but have you played Last Guardian yet?
Yes.
Because you want to talk about bad controls, that game I have way more trouble with than Final Fantasy 15.
But I'll say that.
Ueda.
Well, yeah, it's a new Ueda game. Like, I'm not surprised. Like, I mean, that's kind of what you get with those games. But also, the stakes aren't super high. Like, this is not where.
This is true. Yeah, it's not
this
like
is not in Final Fantasy 15 where all of a sudden, like, did anybody else run into? I don't know what the enemy. I forget its name, but the little random tiger enemy that's just hanging outside of one of the bases that you need to go to.
The curl?
The curl?
Yes, and I'm like, that dude's one level higher than me. I'm going to, wow, he just killed me in one hit.
Yeah, curls are tough this time around.
Yep.
Holy hell, that was horrible.
you don't know about curls, man. They got blaster.
Well, also the fact that you can't dodge that attack. That is real. That was so effed up. Like, all of a sudden, this enemy that is one level higher than me and like knocks me out in one hit. And like Steven was telling me, oh no, that's like a super hard enemy. And I'm like, yeah, do what The Witcher does and put like a skull and crossbones above his head. So I don't think like, oh, little baby tiger, I'm gonna mess you up.
Learn through doing.
Can I just say an aside? I loved running into like that giant samurai enemy.
Yes.
Oh, in the dungeons?
And the
I
blue
ran
sign.
into the level 50 version when I was level 5.
Oh
Yeah.
God. But like,
Yeah, if you go into the
That was
blue
wonderfully
mines,
tense.
it's like, oops.
yeah, I went in there by accident, saw that the level was 50, and I was like, okay, I'm out.
It's kind of weird though that you can. I mean, a lot of, especially
Yeah.
Western RPGs do this, but that they give you access to a dungeon that early in the game where you can just get murdered. But like everything else in the dungeon is level 5 except for the boss at the end. So that's kind of weird to me.
Yeah, that's bizarre. It just.
I really did enjoy the dungeons, though. I actually thought they were a good bit of fun.
Oh, yeah, they're my favorite part. I gotta say.
I
I
got a
like
little,
the outdoor ones a lot.
I got a
Yeah.
little turned around in the ice dungeon at one point. Like I slipped on something and I got really turned around, and then the what you call it, the map targeting kind of sent me down a wrong path. Like it.
Oh, I can tell you a story about that dungeon. I was
Okay, go
fighting
for it.
a bunch of enemies towards the end of that dungeon,
I
and
think we have the same story. Yes.
yeah, one of them is Yojimbo-like enemy, the guy with the sword or whatnot,
Yeah.
and a bunch of goblins. And I swear I fell off the side, the ledge like 2 or 3 times, and had to run all the way back around,
Yep.
and it reset the encounter every time. And I was like, oh my god!
Yeah, I was
Like,
getting-
Wow. It's like Ninja Gaiden 2.
Yeah, I was having the same problem there. It was like the birds in Ninja Gaiden. Like they just kept coming back.
oh god, but the birds too.
In that same dungeon toward the end, I had to fight the like 3 mind flayers, and I got 2 of them down, and then my AI just turned off on all my buddies. So like I got hurt, and Mr. Mind Flayer was just like slamming my face in the ground over and over again. And Prompto's like, "What's the matter, bud? Like, hey, dude, what's going on? Come on, man, let's get going." Like, and I'm just dying. Like I'm having my skin flayed, and I'm just like, "What is going on? Like, why aren't you helping me?"
Prompto's such a
Yeah,
sweet
I
little-
didn't like that dungeon very much.
Yeah, it's weird. Like
An ice dungeon, they all pretty much suck.
Hey, Final Fantasy IX's Ice Dungeon is fantastic.
That's because it's the first one.
I know! It's awesome!
I like the Moogle there. It's like, doesn't it yell at you or something and tells you to go to hell?
It's a very, like, it's such a weird game. So I don't want, I don't want this to be all negativity on Final Fantasy 15, because I'm actually like, even though I am randomly going through like screaming fits with this game and some of the BS that it does, I'm having fun with it. Like, I like getting in my car, like Steph was saying on the last episode. I like driving around and completing quests. The guys are kind of growing on me a little bit. Like, Gladiolus is my bae. Like, I like him a lot.
Ignis.
Like,
Ignis is my bae.
Ignis is pretty good, but that sparkly glove he's walking around with just reminds me a little too much of Michael Jackson. I'm just not.
So
Oh man, when you
chic,
dress him
though.
up in the pinstripe shirt and the suspenders,
hmm
what a guy!
Yeah, I kept him in that.
I like them all, but
I like him.
Yeah, I like them all. I think Noctis was a great hero, too.
I haven't really had so I'm the earliest in the game by far on the crew. Like I'm still screwing around in chapter 5. I kind of had to take a little break from the game when I did the first stealth sequence. That felt like it was from another game. Like fundamentally,
Oh yeah.
what was that?
the one with like the war kills and
agreed.
stuff.
where you have to go get the regalia back because we can't get another car because reasons.
Hey, the regalia is a magic car that automatically puts the top up when it starts raining when you're not inside of it.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
I gotta get Dad's car back or I'll get grounded for weeks.
But so, like, I'm doing that stealth mission, and it was kind of weird that all of a sudden they give you a stealth kill that you can't use at any other point in the game. Like, that was weird. Like,
yeah.
So I'm doing that, and I like alerted the enemies once or twice, and I took them out. I'm 15 levels above these enemies right now because I've just been screwing around in the open world. And then you get to the part where the game goes like full alert because, you know, the best stealth games are ones that make you go full alert because reasons. And those dudes kicked my ass. Like, I got hit 3 times, and suddenly, like, everybody's all wounded and stuff because the game wants me to go do a turret section. Now, if you told me that a Final Fantasy game was going to have me do a turret section, are you kidding me? So I do all that, and then you have to wait for the summons to start to, like, end the mission. Yeah, I don't know what was going on with my control scheme. Maybe it's because I switched to Type B, and maybe that's why they don't want you to use Type B. I'm holding down L2 to summon, and it's just not happening. So I'm getting my ass handed to me in a fight, and I can't summon Ramuh to finish the fight. Like, I expected Master Chief to come down and finish the fight. It was ridiculous. Like, it just wouldn't happen. It wouldn't work. And I was having flashbacks to fighting the final boss from Final Fantasy XII, where all my guys were trying to cure themselves, but the game wouldn't load the cure spell. So, like, the final boss just started wailing on me for 45 seconds and killed my whole party.
See, and this is when your status as a glitch lich rears its ugly head.
Yes! Like, my mutant power showed its evil tendencies, and I'm just sitting there like, finally Ramuh showed up and, like, devastated everything, but good lord! Like, you guys have played further than I have in this game, and we're all agreeing that this game has huge positives and huge negatives.
Yeah.
Am I wrong in my assessment that it feels like 2 different teams were working on this game?
That's exactly how I feel.
I would say
you're not wrong.
Elaborate, please. I don't want to be the only one talking right now.
We all have things that we want to say. I think that not just 2 different teams, but to me, Final Fantasy 15 just feels like 2 different games put together. I know that you haven't gotten to the latter half yet, Rob, but suffice to say, because obviously we don't want to give too many spoilers since the game is pretty fresh, but you know, the game basically changes its structure about halfway through. It goes from this big open world adventure to like a very linear guided experience, which there's nothing necessarily wrong with linearity. It's kind of weird how Final Fantasy 15 seems so built around giving you all of this freedom, and then it takes all of that away. It takes away the car. It takes away cooking and camping. Like, you can still rest, obviously, because you have to level up, but
it takes it away a bit too fast. Like, I wish some of the final places were a bit more playable. Like, Alticia had a bit of land to investigate. Then they kind of really tease you out with the train segment where they show a bunch of land that you don't go to.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
they do
that. And yeah, it's kind of surprising because I thought that maybe they would wrest control of that away from you for a little while for the purpose of moving the story forward, and then give it back to you right at the end. But they don't. And
oh god, no.
You can what they offer you instead is sort of like a weird fourth wall breaky solution of like, oh, you can go back to the past and revisit your memories from that time.
And that kind of deals with the opening of the game, which if people are really sensitive about spoilers, I won't give away, but the opening seems to be taking place at a different period in time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Is that kind of what you're getting at a little bit there?
Right. So while you can mechanically go back and continue to explore the world and even complete side quests, and by the way, there are side quests that don't unlock until you've beaten the game. So you can go back and do that, but at the same time, like, to me, it feels almost wrong, and because
redundant in a way.
Yeah.
Well,
it's because for me, I had already invested something in the narrative, and I already knew how everything was going to end up. And so, with that in mind, it's kind of hard to go back to how everything was because everything has changed by the end of Final Fantasy 15.
And I mean, to be fair, they told us about this before the game came out. They explained that it starts out open and it becomes more linear, but I don't know.
They could have padded it out better.
Yeah, and the feeling that I get is not so much that it became linear because the story required it, but that it became linear because they were rushed and they had to finish it. And
well,
They had set pieces that they wanted to show off.
Yeah, that was the question I wanted to ask, which was when this game was first officially shown, and I mean like Final Fantasy 15, the game was shown, versus 13, the game was shown, not just the Noctis video with the spinny swords all around him. When they first showed the actual game, and they had Noctis running around like the city environment and fighting the behemoth, that felt like one game. And then when they showed like the Leviathan attack and Noctis almost doing like an Uncharted, like going through a building sort of thing, that felt like another game. And then it's like you have the road trip game. And so I'm kind of wondering, when Tabata-san took over on this, did he just kind of like add the bro trip and the road trip? That was redundant. I should have said bro trip. I had something really clever there, and I just completely screwed it up. When they had the bro trip, did they then still feel the need to put these set pieces that probably had a lot of time and energy put in, and then they couldn't finish this game?
That's like, kind of what it feels
stubborn
like.
About some of those things, like, well, we already invested all this energy in making these areas, and we want to do something with them, but the direction kept changing so much. And you can see just the vestiges of plot points, left behind. Like, there are so many things that just don't get tied up neatly, which is why they're patching some story DLC in for free.
One thing I do admire, whether it was worked out well or not, is that they do keep the story with the main four guys.
Yeah.
I think they're all fantastic characters, and I really like them.
What I do wish they added was like kind of like a few games have, is that you could keep news clips, or you could see journals or other kind of things. If they helped flesh it out that way, that would have even been pretty good. But there's barely anything.
I get
for
what
a
you're
game with a lot of plot.
I get what you're saying there, Steph. The only criticism I'd have of that is, and this is because we were talking about it in the pre-show, was like Dishonored 2 tells almost all of its story through like diary entries, to the point that when I would pick one up and just see this wall of text with like 3 paragraphs, I'm like, nope, not gonna read it. Like, and that's disappointing, but that's the whole show don't tell argument.
Yes, that is the.
It's not like this game even showed anything.
That's the cardinal sin that the story takes in this game, is it does not show you half of anything that it should. It tells you a bunch of crap, and then it doesn't even tell you some things that would actually be really important information for you to know. You had to kind of glean it from context and loading screens, and you're not. Rob, you're going to hate Chapter 13, not because of gameplay, but you're going to hate Chapter 13 because of what it does story-wise.
You might hate it for gameplay, too.
that too. But in my opinion, and maybe we're jumping the gun a little bit because we're talking about how they're going to be patching things, and they mentioned specifically they were going to be addressing Chapter 13 because everyone has been, moaning about how awful it is. That is...
It's at least 1 hour too long and 20 jump scares too many.
Yeah, but for me, the gameplay was not the problem. For me, what the problem was how that chapter is proof that they were rushed for the story, because they literally had to use the whole pick items up and read about what the crap is going on in order to explain key important plot points, not only about what's happening in the world, but what's happening related to certain characters that don't get enough screen time, and even one of your own party members. So,
they totally gloss over that one.
Oh, that's so bad.
But
Go ahead.
I don't want to jump in.
The other thing I'll say related to DLC is that we all knew that there was going to be character episodes featuring the Gladio, Ignis, and Prompto, one for each of them, and we didn't know what the context was. By playing the main game, you pretty much know where their character DLC is taking place.
You know exactly where.
Yeah, and it becomes obvious that this is stuff that really ideally should have been in the main game, because it's important information that just gets glossed over by the story.
They've already announced where Gladios is going to be, and it just
I'm actually
the worst chapter in the game.
Yeah,
I'm really excited for that, though.
What they're doing with it seems like a pretty big cop-out. It seems like he was going to do something important, but, reading the press release and seeing it's like, I gotta go fight some bosses from other games.
Do you think that, so I hear these complaints, and again, I haven't gotten there, so I can't speak to that. What I can speak to is that even though I think the narrative has been, a little flat, and I haven't watched Kingsglaive yet, so seeing like a collection of cutscenes interspersed to kind of get like the big reveal after the first couple chapters was pretty bad. But like at the same time, I want to speak positively about how at least I have some emotional investment in these characters, and they're not speaking about nonsense. Not trying to go back and attack 13 again, but yeah, I am. Like, they're
Too many proper nouns.
They're not talking about falsy, lassie, and my focus, and Hope throwing a boomerang over and over again after crying about his mommy.
But he had a fishing rod.
Yeah.
But,
now open the codex to find out what it all means.
Yeah, like I get, and I'm not excusing the storytelling problems in 15, and I know I haven't gotten to the worst incidents, but at least this is a world that I feel some sort of connection with instead of
familiar.
Watching,
it's got a gas station. It's
I mean, Final Fantasy 13, I might as well have been watching the game played in Japanese without subtitles for all the sense that it made. Like, this is ridiculous. Like, this is just nonsense heaped on top of nonsense. And to play a game that's a little bit more like, okay, there's an evil empire. They did some stuff, and we're going to stop them.
I'm glad that you brought that up, Rob, because I think that basically what it boils down to is that Final Fantasy 15 nails the more micro level story beats, but not the macro level ones, and that it has good interactions between characters that are all genuinely likable. I love the core cast. I think that all four of them are great.
I love the bad guy.
Oh, Arden's great.
He's fine. I don't know. I think he's also underutilized.
But
I like his hair.
One thing I like is that even if the game is really spaced out in terms of the story sequences, I really did like the way cutscenes come together in the second half. Like, I thought they were beautiful looking.
Yeah, they are. They're very beautiful looking. I just wish there was more story to tell them.
Like, the entire sequence on the train, I just thought was really well done. Kind of takes you through the motions, and you're kind of following a ghost around almost. Yeah, so I thought that whole segment felt, kind of the way Noctis felt was it felt like a nightmare. You're kind of going through these, really rough patches. You don't know what's real, and everything kind of feels like shit because you're going through a really rough time. And I thought they did a really good job with that whole section.
I agree.
Yeah. It's just a shame the reason why you're going through a tough patch there, which we won't spoil. But
Can I just explain one of my favorite sequences, actually?
As long as it's not spoiler heavy.
It's not very spoiler heavy. It's part of the sequence though, where after, a really bad event of the game, you guys are still kind of stuck together. And, you kind of walk slowly. Nobody's really in the mood to talk. Everyone's just kind of agitated. You guys are,
effective moment.
Yeah, you guys are
Yeah,
stuck together. You're brothers,
powerful.
but you're all just a bit pissed off at each other right now. And so the whole sequence I'm talking about is the bit at the swamp. It is not at all fun to play, and the game makes a conscious effort to make it a very non-fun part to play. So I just like the sequence of events though, where they keep changing goalposts and everything while you're walking around. So just to explain real quick, you have to get to the tomb, but you can't get to the tomb because it's blocked by a car that won't run because the power is down and a generator is off, and the key to turn it on is in a shed across the swamp, and you walk there slowly because one of your boys was hurt in a recent attack that killed the cat that ate the rat and lived in the house that Noctis built. And it just keeps going, you always wonder when Noctis is going to break because he goes through so much garbage. He's sad. He cries a whole bunch of times in the game just because he's going through so much shit. And to me, the game is a genuine tragedy.
It's warranted too.
Yeah.
That's a very powerful sequence.
Do you guys think that adding... I think Jim Sterling made the argument that there's no amount of story that can be added to sort of fix this. Do you guys think it can be fixed, or is it kind of like
I would play a director's cut?
Don't tell them that. Don't tell them that because it's going to be Final Fantasy 15 plus 1.3 or whatever.
I've described it as basically them putting a Band-Aid over an open wound. It's going to make a difference, but it's not going to fundamentally change the inadequacies that exist in the story.
Because
it's still going to bleed out.
The problems are throughout the entire story from start to finish, really.
Yeah, it's structural.
It doesn't become apparent at the beginning because it doesn't start kind of going off the roads until the end, because that's again, where you can clearly tell that they were running out of time and they just had to finish it. So it'll certainly help for the, the specific character that they mentioned that we're going to be seeing more of, because he just goes
upstairs.
And one other character in particular get the shortest end of the stick because they really need more screen time. So in that sense, it'll help, and it will probably help to explain certain events that, with the game as it stands, don't make a lot of sense.
I think that's one thing, though, is that I wanted more because I was actually pretty invested in it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Can I ask a question? And before I ask this question, Caitlin, I don't want you to think I'm asking this question to start a fight.
Okay.
No, I'm not. I'm really not. I'm asking it because I want to see how it compares. Because having not experienced this stuff, what I'm hearing a lot of is the complaints that are lobbed at the second disc of Xenogears. Like, ran out of money, ran out of time. They kind of had to very quickly go through a lot of plot that would have been really awesome to go through, but, that was the time, and they ran out of money. What are you going to do? Is it similar to that in 15, or is there, like, a fundamental difference here?
I would say it's both. It's definitely similar in that they ran out of time. I think that Xenogears, love it or hate the monologue sequences, I think that was a slightly more graceful way to deal with the issues than some of the things that Final Fantasy 15 does. But on the other hand, I never got the feeling from Xenogears that it was trying to mash up two different stories or multiple different takes on the same story, rewrites, things like that. And that's kind of what is a little bit apparent with
actually, kind of stemming from that, if there's one thing I wish it kind of took a note from Xenoblade on is there's so many side quests in the game. I wish the side quests kind of delve into the world more, because that'd be perfect ground to do that on.
Yeah, actually, I 100% agree. That's one of. It's really fun because it's fun exploring the world, and the combat when it doesn't make you want to throw your controller is fun. But yeah, that's one of the disappointing things, especially after how Tabata was talking about they weren't just creating an open world and they were going to try to fill it up with stuff, because unfortunately, they kind of did just fill it up with repetitive fetch quests and monster hunts. And
this dragon's causing some issues. Can you go take care of it?
But what I do, I mean, they are very fetch quest happy. But I think the reason why I'm okay with them is because I am noticeably getting stronger by doing them. And that feels like that Dragon Ball Z part of my head where it's like I'm gonna go train. I'm gonna go train at 100 times Earth's normal gravity so I can go fight Frieza.
Rob, wait until you get further in the game. You said Dragon Ball Z. I was literally screaming, "This is Dragon Ball Z!" at certain points later in the game.
It sounds like I'm gonna love this game now. But you know what I mean? Like the side quests in Witcher are really they're super involved and they give you so much flavor into the world. But what was so disappointing was usually you finish them and it's like, okay, here's your 250 orans. And it's like,
There you go. Yeah.
But that fits with the theme of the character, but I didn't feel myself getting stronger from them. And so when I finish a couple side quests in 15, I can't help but then go, wow, I'm hitting people a hell of a lot harder. Ooh, now I have some money to go buy some weapons. Ooh, now I'm really messing things up now, and now I'm 15 levels above all the regular enemies. This feels great. And a cat just ripped out my throat, and blood. I have
to say, I've like seeing actual arms dealers, selling you your wares.
Well, that's America in about 3 months. I mean, that's all I can figure. But there's something I know they're fetch questy, but because of the progression system in the game and earning AP and always feeling like you're unlocking something. Yeah, they told me to go collect another dog tag, but god damn it, I'm going to go do it. Because I know I'm going to get stronger from this. And so, but I agree with you guys. It would have been nice if maybe a little bit more of that world building had been tied into that. But again, I think this game kind of came down to it either needed another year in development or they were just going to bring it out now.
Yeah.
I think they had to bring it out now.
Fans would have been shitting themselves even more.
Ultimately, I'm happy with what we got.
I am too.
Yeah, I don't think it's a dumpster fire of a game. I just think that there's well, and just
it's kind of miraculous. It's as good as it is.
It could have been better. But just to close out on what you were saying about Xenogears versus this, I think that they're different in that they take opposite approaches. I think Final Fantasy 15 excises plot detail and says, you know what, we don't know how to work this in, and we're just going to drop all these ideas and make this streamlined and jettison you to the finish. Whereas Xenogears says we have all these ideas and we're not willing to let them go, so have all of them in a text dump. Like,
yeah. It was
Chrono Cross kind of did that too at the end too. That really pissed me off.
Oh no, because the music worked. Like you will not. If I can't speak ill about Xenogears in front of Caitlin, you can't speak ill about Chrono Cross in front of me. That's like my child.
I love it. I just think
nope. Step.
I'm going to. Okay.
Where's the mute button? I'm gonna mute now. But like I agree with you, and I think Caitlin brought up a good point, which was like, yeah, it's fun to beat up on Xenogears for like that second disc, but it was an elegant way of handling a problem. Like those monologues did, and thematically they do work. Like that kind of fits with the whole Xenogears is Evangelion is Shinji crying himself to sleep and doing things over Asuka that he probably shouldn't be doing. But like it's totally fine. Like it's fine. It's fine, Shinji. Go shame yourself in the corner. But like it somehow worked, and it feels like in a lot of ways 15 is kind of like this conglomeration of problems of like Final Fantasy VII, where they were making cutscenes and still writing the story at the same time, and so you'd have one cutscene where Cloud has his Popeye arms, and then another cutscene where a character dies. I love how I just avoided a spoiler on Final Fantasy VII, followed by a snowboarding mini game, and it's like, but then you also have like some of the Xenogears problems of like we just ran out of money, and so we got to get this out. And it's just weird, and it's like it's kind of a Frankenstein's monster, but I am enjoying this game, and I can't say that about a Final Fantasy in a long time.
Yeah, there's a lot to enjoy.
Side note, but to be fair, Rob, you can. I'm not saying you can't say ill about Xenogears. If I recall, what I took issue with was saying that the second disc invalidates Xenogears from being like a classic must-play game. That was what I took issue with.
True.
People can talk about, because I agree, it's unfortunate, but yeah, I mean, it doesn't make it not a good game to play. So
no, that's fair.
And I mean, it's the same thing with 15. I mean, it's unfortunate that the story couldn't have been told better, that it didn't come together better, but it is what it is, and I agree with Robert. It's kind of amazing that we got anything that works at all, considering the development history and whatnot. So, and
I have to say, I really loved the ending this time, though. This was a good ending to me.
It was very sweet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Does it beat 9?
I like the very last scene, but I don't like the stuff.
Nine's ending is like a damn heartbreaker.
Yeah, 9's ending is amazing.
See, I don't like the very last scene. I like the second to last scene because it's.
Yeah, same.
But the reason why I don't like the last scene is because it deals with a relationship that isn't really developed throughout the entire game. So
this is true.
I'm still gonna wait. I know they just announced the holiday update and adding New Game Plus. I'm kind of feeling the way I did about Witcher, which is like, I know this game's going to get better, so I'm going to give it some time. Like, I am enjoying it, but I've got, Rise of the Tomb Raider and a bunch of other stuff to play right now. But it's cool. It is a really cool game, and I don't want the listeners to think that we're being, completely negative on it. I mean, keep in mind, we haven't had a Final Fantasy game to talk about in a long time, and Final Fantasy games have always been pretty different. Like, they've always, if we were to have this podcast when Final Fantasy VIII came out, you would see some, like, explosions right now. Of just, like, and then Jackie would come downstairs and start yelling at me that it's her favorite Final Fantasy, and I would start filing divorce papers. Like,
Rob, I want to replay Final Fantasy VIII because I think I would appreciate it more now, being old, not just because playing a 15, but being older, I think I would.
Because you like the idea that Squall's dead. Because I think that's a great idea. Like,
I never ascribed to that theory.
I love it. It makes the game better. But
it's fascinating.
I want to play 9. I do want to play 9 again.
Hot take. Getting Final Fantasy 15 in my hands, it brought me back to the feeling of having Final Fantasy 8 in my hands in high school. It was that level of excitement for me.
That's sweet.
Yeah, I'll do it.
But it was 8.
I really liked
Oh
8.
my god, chill out.
I want to replay 9. What would be the best way to replay 9? Would it be on PC or
On Steam.
on Steam? Okay.
Where you can
It's pretty nice on
and then,
Vita.
and then read my game journal on it, where I just go right into it.
Oh my! Can't you like speed up the battles a little bit on it or something? Okay.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah, so we were having fun. Like, one of my favorite features of 15 is like all of the music from all the Final Fantasies, and Jackie and I were
love that so much.
It's so good.
Yeah.
That is the right way to
did
fill up a
not.
Blu-ray disc.
It did too.
It's so good. But like, we were replaying all the songs, and like Jackie and I were having so much fun talking about all these songs that we grew up with as kids, and I was like, yeah, but Final Fantasy IX is so burned into my head because, like, you always saw the first 30 to 45 seconds of a fight song because it took that long for everything to load. And, like, that's what kills 9 for me is, like, the combat system is so slow because they have to load in those gorgeous-looking models. Like, it just takes forever. And somewhere Steven is going, someone's speaking ill of Final Fantasy IX, and I need to get over there and, like, hurt them.
You know, the European PS1 version, it was, like, optimized wrong when the discs were pressed and it runs at half speed.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh God. There's a rumor right now, actually there's a lot of rumors going on right now that the whole Breath of the Wild may be being canceled on Wii U. That got buried last night. I hope that's not true. But there's a rumor that they're going to celebrate the 30th anniversary of Final Fantasy and like they're going to do Steam releases of all the games, including War of the Lions. And I'm like, if you guys fix that frame rate, I'm going to find somebody at Square and I will like, I will just give them the biggest. I will Maz Mikkelsen them. Like I will just make out with them like crazy. A man or a woman, I don't care. Like I want to play Final Fantasy Tactics so bad, but that slowdown on Vita is killing me. It's so horrible. Ugh. Really? You don't think it's that big a deal?
It's all right.
I think it is easily something you get used to and can deal with. So,
it's like having molasses thrown in my eyes, or Canadian bacon, or some sort of
callback.
So salty. Yeah.
Some sort of Canadian food stuff just thrown.
I mean, I'll buy it on Steam
Cheese
too,
curds.
because my laptop will easily run it. And yes, but
I love that game so much. Oh my God.
it's very good. Yes.
Also, the best part about having my deluxe edition of Final, well, not sorry, it's the deluxe edition of Final Fantasy 15. Is I just love the Amano artwork of the 4 dudes in the car because it just looks so silly to have all 4 of them just in this car. Like, I don't know why, it just makes me happy.
Where's the Romano artwork of them? Is it on the back?
I never saw it.
So it's if you get the Steelbook version of Final Fantasy 15.
I did.
Okay, look toward the top of the front of the box.
Okay. I guess I just never noticed it.
Like they're squeezed in at the top in this tiny little car, and it's hilarious. It's like, oh man, wait, they're in a. You can almost hear Amano going, "Wait, they're in a car?
Wait.
Oh crap!
They need a DLC to turn the Regalia into a clown car. That needs to happen. I mean, Noctis is getting a sombrero outfit for his Christmas DLC, so I mean, come on.
I'm waiting for Derek to look at the box right now and find the car.
Oh, hold on, let me go get it. I was just taking
do it.
Wait, is this like Where's Waldo? Where's Noctis?
It's one of those things. I didn't notice it for the longest time, and then I saw it at the top of the box, and I was just like, "Oh my God, they're in the car! It's really cute."
Holy shit, there he is!
You couldn't see it, right?
Yeah, I found it. All right, cool.
All right, Final Fantasy 15. It's cool.
It's pretty good.
Well, we're probably going to cover it for a while as they keep releasing stuff for it. And, you know, again, I get what you guys are saying. I doubt they can fix all the story problems, but, you know, let's see what they do. And then when we get the eventual Final Fantasy 15 2, they'll.
Oh my God. Well,
I want that game to be a prequel.
Yeah, wait, I'm gonna avoid spoilers here, but do you think the ending gave any sort of leeway to a sequel to that game?
Not really.
No. It
No.
seemed pretty...
But even if it's like in-universe,
close,
stuff,
yeah.
not exactly the same heroes.
Show me Iris.
I mean, all of a sudden, like, Doc Brown comes back in time. Noctis, you gotta come back with me. Back to the future.
Boy, Iris certainly was underutilized, wasn't she?
Yeah. or Iris, as they say for
Iris.
some.
Iris.
It's like the Maquis. I know how much Rob likes the Maquis.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
It's like
No,
she
yeah,
joins
that
your
was-
party, and they give her battle moves, and then there's just no need or reason for it, and then she's
That was-
gone as quick as she's there.
That was one of the disappointing things about the last chapter of the game.
Yep. Anyway, we should probably move on to something else. Yeah.
Well, I think we should just let it die when it comes to Final Fantasy 15.
Wow. that was a
Segue.
segue. The
No,
name of
Come
the
on.
God damn it, you guys! Every time an effective segue is made, everybody's like, "Well, that was a segue." No, you can't acknowledge it. You gotta just.
No,
let
you
it
just
be.
you just let it die.
Ah!
Oh.
Twice.
So Suda came out with another game, Let It Die, the PlayStation 4 exclusive free-to-play game, which is, man, how the hell do you describe it? It's like psychedelic Dark Souls mixed with Shiren the Wanderer?
Or like,
Is it really?
Yeah.
have any of you played Baroque?
Oh, that
no,
one was weird.
for Wii and PS2. The weird gothic.
Yeah, the remake of the Saturn and PS1 game where you're in a crazy techno dungeon with angels. This is kind of like funny Baroque.
Okay. It's, so we've been hearing about this game for a long time. I think I think the first time this game was announced was my first E3, and they showed skateboarding Grim Reaper, and we had no idea what this game was. Go ahead.
This was originally a
yeah.
spiritual sequel to No More Heroes called Lily Bergamo, and Yusuke Kozaki was on board. I think it was going to be a full price game, and then Grasshopper got bought by Gung Ho, and they retooled it into this free to play game.
Yeah, so I spent, I want to say maybe 5 or 6 hours with this, and I actually downloaded it immediately when it was available on the PlayStation Store, because when you say Dark Souls loud enough 3 times in a mirror, I show up in your house, and I'm like, all right, let's play. And I like how bizarre this game is. Like, just the weirdness and just chowing down on frogs to recover HP and running at people with, a freaking steam iron and shoving it into their face. And it's just, this game is just grungy punk metal. It doesn't have 50 bands did the soundtrack or something ridiculous.
That's right.
For it.
Wow.
It sounds awesome. But then I start playing it and is it fair to say, Robert, that it's super clunky?
Yeah, all Grasshopper games that deal with action are extremely clunky. I think this is probably the most well-realized one.
Yeah.
But there's some very, very baffling design and control decisions. I think you and I both will agree that why is it that when you lock onto a foe, the camera does not lock onto them?
Yeah, that's a great feature. Yeah, who would want the camera to lock onto them?
Yeah, that
or
is
the fact
horrible.
that you can't switch targets after you lock on?
Yeah, there is that.
So if you lock on, that's got to be the dude you start fighting. And it's also weird with the timings. It's really easy to get stun locked, and you really have to complete an animation. And it always feels like every animation is just a little bit longer than you were expecting. You swing your pipe, and you're like, I'm gonna roll now, and it's no, it's just a third or half a second later that you can roll. But I kind of dig that a little bit, and it's got that roguelike where you're kind of playing as disposable characters, and when they die, you can lose everything, and there's all these systems and things built on top of each other. And then there's the free-to-play model, and I think this game is a hell of a lot more nefarious than people realize it is.
Yeah.
If
you get it now, they'll throw a bunch of paid currency at you for being an early adopter, if you will.
If you die,
get in there.
If you die, and you will, you can revive instantly by using what was it called? A death coin? I forget what it's called.
Death metal.
Death metal. Okay, that is awesome. I do love that. You can use it.
It's free.
You can use a death metal to revive instantly, and death metals are the things I think you get one every day you play, and you can pay for more. And the pricing on that can get a little ridiculous, but there's something about this game throwing hard enemies at you to kill you, and then incentivizing you to spend the death metal to revive, I find it a little gross. And you do have other ways of recovering your body. You can spend kill coins, which are the in-game currency that you can't buy, but you can exchange death metal for it. You can use that to recover your characters, or you can go back in the dungeon with another character to get them back. There are ways around it, but like at one point I was chilling on one of like the first floors of the dungeon. I'm at level 2. And I ran into a level 30 hater. When someone dies in the game, their AI, their body is now controlled by the AI, and it's called a hater. And they try to kill you. And so now I was fighting a level 30 enemy that killed me in one hit. But
the thing is, it's not just the game being cruel and trying to incentivize you paying. Another player sent that level 30 hater after you.
Yep.
Somebody was being a jerk.
Well, if they die, then it can randomly populate. But then you can also have them. Yeah, but then you can also have them like invading your. After a certain point in the game, they can invade your home base, not unlike Metal Gear Solid 5, and they can steal all your stuff. And I don't know, like the monetization structure of this game, and playing this at the same time I was playing the DS version of Shiren the Wanderer, which is way, way less friendly than the most recent game that came out in that franchise. Like, so unfriendly. Like, wow, kick you in the balls hard. It kind of shows me that there's a delicate balance that a roguelike needs to find, and Derek, you and I talked about this when we were both playing Shiren.
Yeah.
I think Let It Die is very quickly finding itself on the wrong side of that, and then the further people have gotten into this game, the more people seem to be like, yeah, the monetization really goes nuts. Like, you can start paying for upgrades, like when you build something in this game, because all the weapons that you find in the dungeon are crap and will break in like 5 hits. In order to get like a weapon that will actually last a long time, you need to build it. In order to build it, you need to find a blueprint. You give the blueprint to a store owner. They start making I wish I could do the cat and mouse thing that Steph did, but I can't. I'm not that fast.
So good.
But like then you start asking them to build the thing, and for the first couple like low-level items, yeah, it takes a minute for them to build it. And I'm like, oh, but when I want to build like a mega chainsaw, I can imagine you guys are going to be like, you can have it now for money, or you can wait 24 hours. Like, there's a gross quality to this game. Like, I just wish this was a $60 title.
You know, it's coming to us from the Puzzles and Dragons people.
Yeah.
I think that influence is very, very felt.
Yeah.
I don't have much to say about the game. I haven't played it, but I love the logo.
Yeah, I love the logo. I love the look of this game. I love how just, nasty and grimy it is. It looks like a Sex Pistols concert put into video game form. Like, I love that aspect of it, but like, if this was just a Souls-like that I paid $40 or $60 for, I would be so much more into it. That monetization just, ugh.
But I mean, like, on the other hand, if this is what will allow Grasshopper to make their next, feature fully priced game, I mean, if the success of people playing this means that they can do that in future, I mean, okay, I'm happy that this is something that I can play for free if I want to.
I'm really getting bored with the levels. I started getting really bored with the level design, and there are some just F you over moments where like you fight. If you try to fight more than one enemy at a time, it's just not going to go well. And I had one room where like they just threw 4 guys at me, and I couldn't escape. And I'm like, that's. I want to like this game more than I do, and I actually played it way more than I thought I was going to.
There's one of those. There were a lot of games that came out in the PS2 era that had this sort of like mid-budget feel. I don't really know how else to describe it.
Yeah,
and that's what this game feels like to me. Is one of those like strange kind of typically overlooked gems that that didn't get a lot of mainstream success. Except they sort of twisted that into something a little bit more sinister with all the microtransactions.
Yeah,
but it's super interesting conceptually.
It is like it does some. It just has a personality its own. Like the menus are all kind of clunky, but they're gorgeous to look at, and the way that you kind of X out of the game to then go talk to Uncle Death, and you get tips from a guy who's playing fighting games in an arcade. Like that stuff is just so rad, and I love it. But it's like. Then I keep coming back to this combat where just when I think I've got a firm handle on it, it's very slippery.
I do. Yeah. I really like Grasshopper's imagination, though, just in general. Yeah. No, when you're saying that kind of stuff, it makes me smile, and it just suits the style so much.
Have you guys checked out the voice cast?
Yeah, isn't Mark Hamill in this game just grunting?
Mark Hamill, Billy D. Williams, Tracy Lords. It's really, really weird.
Oh god, and they're all just grunting. Like that's what they do in the game. And like you pick your characters out of a freezer, and when you're like cycling through them, the freezer rotates, and the way they just kind of dangle by like the matrixy cords into their bodies, like
Uncle Death is in the background playing mad scientist, looking a bit like Victor from Devil Summoner.
Like I love everything about this game aesthetically, except I don't want to play it.
Really?
Like that's the way I feel about it, because it's so clunky. It is so clunky, this combat, compared to the Souls games. And it kind of made me go back the way playing Dishonored 2 made me go back and look at Mankind
Divided. Clunky compared to Souls?
You're still playing Dark Souls 1.
Okay.
You're allowed to think, Dark Souls 1.
This is another level of clunkiness.
But like Dark Souls 3 is like lightning fast compared to Dark Souls 1, and especially compared to Let It Die. And the way that Dishonored 2 made me appreciate Mankind Divided more, playing Let It Die and then going to Dark Souls 3, like I was sitting there going, wow, they actually did make some pretty big changes to like timing windows and how quickly you can roll after attacks and your mobility. I love the way Let It Die handles your stamina bar. You don't have one. It's just your heartbeat starts to get faster and faster until like you have to take a rest. That is so cool. I love that. Like this, like, I love that.
It's very unique. Yeah.
And you're like buzzsawing people in the face and shooting firecrackers at them and like nut-shutting them with a shovel. It's just, God, this is a weird game.
It's pretty funny.
It's a weird game. I think part of me also wishes that it wasn't randomly generated levels. The 3D randomly generated levels start looking pretty bad pretty fast.
Oh, really? I thought the floors themselves were static. But
they're random.
Treasures are random. Oh, really?
They're random, and
they're the same every time I go in.
Yeah, that you think they're the same every time because it's that boring. I think the first level is almost always the same, but I've had some variations in that. But the further you go, the more they open up. It also does a weird thing where like the levels loop back in on each other. Like you open up a gate in one level, and that opens up an elevator over here, and that brings you down over here. It's got that Shiren the Wanderer risk reward system that I really like. But then when you just run up against an enemy that's just way overpowered, like. Yikes.
Yeah, Shiren gives you the tools to get out of sticky situations, whereas this one, it doesn't really do that.
Shiren on Vita does. I've been playing the original Shiren the Wanderer remake on DS, like I was saying.
Oh, yeah.
That game
is a cruel game, yeah.
That is a cruel game. Like, I got a shield up to, like, level 10, and then I had this thing where I was trying to rescue a little girl. She got killed by one of those cannonball throwing enemies. Then he leveled up and then one-shotted me. And I was just like, wow, I just lost everything. Whereas Shiren on Vita, you could get like the undo slips and you can get out of there and still hold on to your stuff. Like I think Shiren on DS, I don't know how much more of that I'm going to play. That game's a little rough. Like,
that's an endurance run.
Yeah, I haven't. Did you like Shiren on Vita, Robert?
I like it a lot. Yeah, I'm finally. It's been such a full year. I finally had the chance to sit back down with it this week, and I've just been really addicted to it. I've been playing it on my commutes and then playing it when I get home.
It's friendly. It's a friendly roguelike, but it doesn't tell you to go get those undo slips and the points. But like when you figure that out, it kind of becomes like a run game where you feel yourself getting stronger every time you go in.
I'm surprised at how friendly it was because I played so much of that first Shiren game, and that's what I knew this series to be. And seeing all of these new tools that they gave you, I worried that it would make things trivial, and it doesn't. It just makes things different in a way that I find really, really satisfying and approachable.
Yeah, it gives you the sense of progress that I think, when Derek and I were talking about roguelikes, like, yeah, I get the point of a roguelike, but like Rogue Legacy and Shiren on Vita, those games still make you feel like you're getting stronger overall the more you play them. And yeah, Shiren on Vita still has those brutal 100-floor dungeons that will just kick your ass up and down Main Street. So like, that stuff is still there, but the actual main story quest is very doable, whereas on DS, like, I've been doing the same, like, 8 floors over and over and over again just to get, like, minusculely more strong. Like the minuscule improvements on my character, and that's really starting to grate on my nerves a little bit. But yeah, Let It Die is like the dark, angry roguelike that I want, but it's just that monetization on top of it just damn it.
It's a problem. Yep.
Sorry.
Oh, bless you.
Did that really just happen? How am I not supposed to make fun of that?
I'm sorry.
How am I not supposed to
Didn't
make
mute
fun?
in time.
Damn it. So I guess we'll move away from Let It Die, and we'll kind of...
You'll let it die?
Well,
Are we going to move to another world line?
I was going to say we were going to take a little jump to the left and then a step to the right, and via a time warp, we were going to get to Steins Gate Zero. I know it was a stretch, but I tried, all right?
It's fine.
Well,
I'll let it pass. I'm just kidding.
I gotta go play Hello Kitty Adventure now. Damn kids. All right, so Steins Gate Zero. Am I going to like this game? No? Okay, move on.
No, you're not.
God damn it.
Because you didn't care much for the first one.
Is it a prequel or is it like a sequel?
It's a sequel.
sequel to
Which is
Ending.
confusing.
It's a sequel called Zero. God damn it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know that Robert and I are both playing it. The premise of the game is basically there's a really important event at the end of Steins Gate, and Steins Gate Zero is a what-if story. It's saying what would have happened if the main character was not successful in his, completing his objective at the end of Steins Gate. And so it follows a different world line in the universe of Steins Gate, I guess. I guess to back up a little bit, Steins Gate is a visual novel series, and it's also the first game was made into an actually really good anime adaptation. And Steins Gate is all about a group of sort of ragtag inventors and weirdos who somehow managed to make a time machine of sorts. It's actually a device that can sort of affect the world by sending a text message back in time. But so the series ends up being about time travel, essentially. So Steins Gate Zero follows a different kind of parallel reality, saying what if, again, the thing hadn't happened at the end of Steins Gate 1, and launches from there. And what it does is it introduces some kind of characters who were tertiary to the lives of some of the main characters and brings them to the forefront, because now suddenly they are kind of needing to follow up on the research of one character from Steins Gate 1 and continue working on artificial intelligence. The game delves into neuroscience and some pretty interesting stuff. But the problem is, it's great. I actually really like it a lot. I mean, I do more than Robert, I think. But the problem is that it's also weighed down, just like Steins Gate 1 was, by a lot of fluff. They really love to delve into the silly everyday interactions of the cast, and sometimes it can be a little much.
If you
it's
thought
weird
that
actually getting
Steins
into an
Gate
anime for less filler.
Yeah.
Is it my problem with Steins Gate, the original game, was that all that filler was kind of front loaded, and everybody kept telling me you need to push through, you're going to get to the good stuff. Is this game the good stuff's in the middle and then the filler, the good stuff's in the beginning and then the filler's in the middle? How does it?
No, I'd say it's the same.
Oh, damn it.
if you thought Steins Gate was missing a bunch of conversations about dressing up as a sexy Santa Claus for a Winter Comics Con, Steins Gate Zero's got you covered.
Go on.
You're talking about the guys dressing up as a sexy Santa Claus, right?
I think that's.
I wish I was.
I think that's one of the reasons why, not to swing the conversation to Danganronpa, but so much of the extra characterization in that game was optional. So if I felt the need to if I really wanted to push forward on the cases and like solve the mysteries and keep the main narrative flowing, I didn't have to worry about like going up and talking to all my friends at the school. And I liked that. I liked the ability to do that. And I just kept looking for like a skip button on Steins Gate where I was like,
it's because Danganronpa is far more of a game, ostensibly, than Steins Gate. Steins Gate is pretty much just a pure visual novel. It gives you this sort of choice that isn't really a choice option, in that the main character has a cell phone that he can choose to answer or not at certain times. And all that really amounts to is a couple of different story branches. The game has 5 endings, maybe 6. I can't remember. I think 6. And depending on where you answered or don't at certain points in the story, that branches you in separate directions. But it's like, it's not as if you're shaping your own narrative or anything like that. It's just like, did you press A or did you press B? Which way are we going here?
Yeah.
So, it does. It falls into the same. I guess I would call it a trap as Steins Gate 1, because it sort of depends on your tolerance for the cheesecakey anime stuff. Whereas this, for me, I know I bring it up all the time, but this is similar to like how Trails of Cold Steel goes in harder on the anime and does a lot more of the like fan servicey character to character moments where they're sort of tropey, although that's a series that likes to subvert tropes and does it very well. Steins Gate also goes in on that with the like, teehee, they're all cosplay fans, let's talk about anime, and like there's this one dude who's a pervert who likes to play hentai games and stuff. And I just find that character annoying, basically. But you know, it doesn't ruin the game for me. It's just they really do go in hard on that, but then they sort of flip it on its head sometimes when it gets serious. Because when the plot gets serious in Steins Gate, it is dark as hell.
Yeah.
People get horribly murdered. Yeah, like there's a lot to do with death and sort of like fighting fate and whether or not that's an act of hubris against God and that kind of stuff. So it gets to very interesting places, but you have to be willing to wade through a certain amount of silly schlock before you get there. So I think it's still an interesting game. It's just much like the first. I do think it is front loaded with all that kind of stuff. I find the ratio to be a little bit better this time in terms of the serious stuff, because there is more fluff, but there's also more serious. I think that the game seems like it's bigger to me.
Does the fluff help contextualize the characters better, though?
No, I don't really think it does. Yeah, I think it
feels like it's there for, sorry.
It's just sort of, no, I agree. It's kind of incongruous. It's just there to be a thing. And,
it's like, you know how like sometimes they release like ancillary like drama CDs or things that really kind of like, God, I hate quoting TV tropes, but kind of like Flanderize the characters. Like, let's take these quirky elements, and like in Persona 4 Arena, where Chie was all about beef. It's a little bit like that in Steins Gate.
Oh, where it's like every time she can be about beef, she'll talk about beef. And
because that one time she talked about beef.
And that one time okay.
F-Snake.
Or Persona Q. Yeah, Persona Q did the same thing, which is why I have such an issue with that game, because it took characters that had these really nuanced, fleshed out personalities and just fixated on one trait and was like, that's it! That's who they are, let's go in on that. But, I mean, Steins Gate, of course, doesn't necessarily fixate on one thing for each character, because there is depth there. It's just, it seems weirdly artificial for them to focus as long as they do on those things. So, he totally hit it on the head. Like, they do spend, a good half hour talking about their Christmas party plans and how, oh my God, who's going to wear a sexy dress and stuff. And then it's like, oh yeah, by the way, the entire fate of the world is at stake and billions of people will die if we don't avert World War III. Yeah. But Santa cosplay!
The universe kind of ended, so, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there an anime for Steins Gate Zero or no?
No, it's pretty new. It just came out.
Okay. So there probably will be an anime for it.
I hope so.
Steins Gate was very well received, that anime version, and you're not the only people to tell me just watch the damn anime. I'm like, okay, well maybe I will.
It cuts out a lot of the unnecessary stuff. It gets to every plot point quicker, basically.
And not the way that the Danganronpa 1 anime was just like this might as well just be the Cliff Notes version of Danganronpa, except I'm missing a whole lot of stuff.
Not at all.
Yeah.
I really got to get into that series.
That series grew on me quite a bit. And I think I really like that overall story. I would totally recommend it. It is really fun. Also, that music is awesome and catchy as hell.
Mm-hmm.
God damn it.
I do like the death music or the execution music from the first game. That one stayed stuck in my head.
It's really good.
Yeah.
I always just get the main theme that they have all the different remixes of.
Yeah, that's it.
I can't really act up. It's like boom 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 boom.
It's really, it's got a jazziness to it, which is really cool. It's fun. And then so I guess we can kind of move into news just a little bit. Danganronpa V3 is confirmed for the West.
Hell yeah!
I'm hoping it's sooner rather than later.
Yeah, it's January in Japan, so I think projected dates are like April, May.
I'd like it in the summer.
Soon. Wow, that'd be great.
I'd like it in the summer because April is just going to be Persona all day, every day. Like,
yeah.
That ain't everything needs to get out of the way of Persona. I can't wait to have my little school bag and bring it to school every day. Like, I'm really excited about that.
What I wouldn't have given to have a teacher like you when I was growing up.
No, trust me. As Snake said, the reality is no match for the legend. I'm afraid. Like, like the kids were all like, "What'd you think of Rogue One?" And I was like, "Okay, here's my dissertation. Wait, you guys have a test to take. Stop trying to distract me." Damn kids and your rap music. And so yeah, I'm really excited for Danganronpa V3, but I swear to God, if it just turns out that What's-Her-Face is the villain again, I'm going to be really pissed off.
Oh yeah,
please do not do that.
Like if Junko is literally the villain again, I'm just going to be like, oh, for God's sake. Like, seriously? Like,
give it a rest. She's played out.
Like I want a whole new story, new characters. I mean, one of the kids looks like more metal version of Mighty Number 9, and I'm not sure if that was a joke or not. Like the android kid just looks like Mighty Number 9. I'm totally digging that. And also you get to play as a girl. That's great.
Yeah.
A little different.
Right on.
She's the ultimate pianist. That's her skill. Pianist. She plays the piano.
You can't say that joke on the podcast.
Good night, everybody. So yeah, there's that. I was commenting to Derek that every time I see Nier Automata, I just want to like. Is it Automata or Automata? I think it's
Automata.
Yeah.
Is anyone allergic to the collector's edition?
That game looks so goddamn good.
Oh, yeah.
That game looks so good. I bought the original Nier. I don't know what's wrong with me.
I'm curious what you would think about that game.
I am going to give that game a shot. I think it's coming in the mail next week. I am very excited to try it.
Thinking about a Nier game with a Platinum produced battle system. Sounds amazing.
That's a good selling point.
Well, so Platinum, I've been real hit and miss on Platinum. I did not like Metal Gear Rising at all because I felt very out of control in that game, and maybe I should fire it up again, give it another shot, but I felt...
It takes a while to get used to.
Yeah, it didn't play like anything I'd ever played before. This game looks like Bayonetta, except the camera is under control. I like the art style, and you're fighting enemies that make the combat fun. Bayonetta was like, I had fun for the first 2 levels in that game, and then you just fight a whole lot of enemies that are not fun to fight. Like, they don't respond to your attacks. You just wail on them and then dodge, and then wail on them and dodge. And I don't know. There's something about the power fantasy that I think always got screwed up with Kamiya's games. Like, he seems to understand that you want to feel powerful, but then he just stops giving you fun enemies to fight after like the 3rd level, and it turns into a slog. And I don't know why he feels the need to do that with every one of his games. Like, I don't know, but that's just my opinion.
I really want to like Bayonetta, but those games hurt my wrists in a way that no other game does.
Really?
Yeah.
I think it's a carpal tunnel thing.
Yeah, I think so.
I was also playing the PS3 version of the original Bayonetta, which was
that one's notoriously
the broken one.
That was rough. That is a rough game on PS3.
How's it broken?
Frame rate.
It was poorly optimized. It was ported from 360 instead of developed for the platform.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
who would have thought Kamiya was kind of being a dick about porting games and, being a little like, oh, I made Resident Evil 2, you guys should still listen to me. And it's like, all right, dude. Like,
blocked.
What?
You have been blocked.
He blocks everybody on Twitter.
Oh yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine. He can block my non-existent Twitter. That's fine. But like, I love Beautiful Joe. Like, I really love that game. And Platinum was made by most of the staff of Clover. Okami is the game that I very, very famously played through 3 times, and I get to the same spot every time and stop, even though I adore that game.
What part?
I get
it's 3 games too long.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
I get to the Snow Village and I always stop. I get within like 10 hours of beating that game.
Yeah, come on.
I don't know why. I stop every time because I'm like, this game needed to end like 15 hours ago. Like, it would be one of my favorite games of all time if it would just know that it needs to end. Not unlike a little game that, Robert, I meant to ask you about this. You haven't had a chance to play Shin Megami Tensei 4 Apocalypse yet, have you?
Oh, I have.
Did you beat it?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
I think I'm near the end. I think I'm near this dungeon that you have been warning everybody off about. Some other things came up, and like I like that game quite a bit. I mean, I think I like Shin Megami Tensei 4 more. So I haven't really. I don't have that much desire to go back and finish it. I think I will before the end of the year. But
you don't like Dagda? What's wrong with you? He's awesome. He sounds awesome.
He is a high point, but it's so very shonen, and very like power of friendship in a way that like that's not really what I want from that series.
I think if they could go back and fix the map in Shin Megami Tensei 4, I'd probably like that game more. And replaying 4 before Apocalypse, and I'm sorry for all the 4s right there, but trying to replay 4 and realizing, like, where's the dude I need to talk to get this game to keep moving? Oh, he's over in this random building?
Yeah, that wasn't great.
Yeah, great. Like, that, I think that's one of the things that Apocalypse does very, very well. Like, it keeps the story going while still not losing that, that non-linearity and ability to get yourself into trouble, which I really like.
Yeah, I agree. I just kind of felt like, I've played this game before.
Do we think Shin Megami Tensei 5 is going to be on a handheld, or what do we think?
Maybe in 10 years.
I mean, I don't want it to be.
They spent all that money making Persona 5, and making that game gorgeous. Like, they kind of did reuse assets for the better part of a generation after Shin Megami Nocturne, like Shin Megami Tensei Nocturne. So I would not begrudge them that. I would not be angry at them for doing that, but there's something about Shin.
Even SMT4 and Strange Journey reused stuff from Devil Summoner on Saturn, so they're still doing that.
My only memory of Strange Journey was just being like caned in the ass over and over again as I tried to play that game. That game was vicious.
It's a harsh mistress.
That game was savage. Like, but yeah, going back a step, Nier looks absolutely fantastic, and I know we got a little off track there. I really want that game to be good. I really, really want. I had zero desire. Like, I remember when we were all in the hotel room at E3 and they announced like the new Nier project, and I was like, that I have zero interest. And then I saw the game being played, and I'm like, you get to ride a moose in this game. I'm on board. But it's got that real minimalist world design that I know people are going to be like, oh, it's so stark and it looks empty. And I'm like, yeah, it's the post-apocalypse. That's what it's supposed to look like. Like, it's got that Shadow of the Colossus look to it that I really, really like. Also, I then started diving deep in the Drakengard connection to Nier, and my brain started bleeding. Like, the amount of backstory that they wrote to connect Drakengard to Nier, what the hell? It's like when you beat Xenogears and it's like episode 5 and you're going, wait, what? Like, wait, how much further does this rabbit hole go? And it's like quite a bit, actually. And
I actually really like that about it. I thought it was really cool.
No, I really like the more I read about it, the more I'm like, should I play Drakengard? And then I'm like, no.
No.
Just read about it. It's fine.
Yeah.
Just read about it. But like, I really like.
Make sure you read the accompanying Grimoire Vice Google document.
Oh my god, I started reading it and my head hurts. I'm so, like, I can't believe I'm going to get invested in Nier. This is weird. I already know the big reveal of, like, how you are officially supposed to beat Nier, and I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
I think that's really cool. But yeah, I remember playing Drakengard on a PlayStation 2 demo disc and just being like, this is garbage. This is hot garbage. And then Lair came out and somehow made it worse. Yikes. Topical. So Nier looks good. Caitlin, you seem interested in Dynasty Warriors Big Cleavage Valkyria or whatever the hell it's called. Valkyria
Revolution.
Okay.
I said it before in the pre-show, I want to give it a shot. I actually was legit surprised because I hadn't heard that we were actually getting it in the West, and then they just came out and said, yeah, it's coming stateside in spring 2017. I was like, okay. So yeah, I mean, the changes that they've made to the combat, from what we can tell, it's not going to play the same, and I'm just going to try to accept that and see if what it does play like is worthwhile. And I know next to nothing about the story or the world per se, so that's something to look into and see if that makes up for maybe turning it into more of a, like you said, more of a Dynasty Warriors experience.
If you're going to be pretty into it, then just go on blind, see if you can go in appreciating it like that.
Yeah. More than anything, I kind of want to support them bringing that franchise out here again. Like,
so
maybe
can get 3.
So we can get Valkyria Chronicles 3. Yeah, maybe if Revolution does well, they'll think about giving us VC3, please.
You can get 2 now on the Vita, right? Don't you have to download it to the PlayStation 3 and then you can transfer it or something weird? I heard something
for
about that.
Valkyria 2.
Yeah.
That was the case, but I think they fixed it so that you can just directly download it.
Yeah.
And is Valkyria 3, and people seem a little mixed on 2, maybe I'm reading
that. Bad
that
one.
Okay, but 3 is supposed to be
bad
good.
is such a strong word. It's different, okay?
Does it have a giant tank that's going to make me quit it for the 5th time?
It's the one that wants to be Persona 4.
I don't see how's that a bad thing. Does it have beef? Oh, come on, that was good.
It's steak, okay? It is steak.
But beef is such a funnier word.
But it's F-steak. It's a funnier word, okay?
See? It's like when you say moist and everybody's skin crawls.
Beefy.
Moist.
What about
big beefy boys?
What? Golly, what's who just smacked their lips?
That was me. We're talking about steak.
I thought you were talking about Canadian bacon.
Oh
dear. What about what's the difference with Valkyria 3? How's that? If 2's the schoolyard, what's 3?
Well, Valkyria Chronicles 3 is sort of a side story that takes place during the same time frame as the original Valkyria Chronicles.
Okay.
You're following, I forget what they're officially, it's like a nameless squad of people.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And it's if Valkyria Chronicles 2 was a more happy-go-lucky version where you're still technically fighting combat, a war of sorts, but it's, you're military students, so there's that funniness and it doesn't take itself quite as seriously as the original Valkyria Chronicles did. What I've heard is that Valkyria Chronicles 3 is kind of a return to form of it's more of a serious tale.
Okay.
Compared to VC2, so.
Okay.
So, I mean, everything I hear about is that it's better than Valkyria Chronicles 2, which I enjoyed what I played of. But they just don't want to give it to us. So if I have to shell out money to get bigger boobed Sylvaria to make them realize that I will buy Valkyria Chronicles 3, then I will.
How do I convince them that I want Skies of Arcadia on Steam?
Oh my god, please.
How do I convince
the JPEG textures too?
I have wanted to play that. This was what was so cool about this game. I wanted to play Dragon Quest VII since 2001 when it came out. 2000. And I want to play Skies of Arcadia so bad. And it's okay, I got my Dragon Quest VII. I'd really like to play Skies of Arcadia.
Well, I don't know about Steam, but cross your fingers, maybe it'll come to Switch because there are rumors that we're going to have GameCube backwards compatibility or GameCube Virtual Console.
It depends if they do any kind of upscaling though, because I want that game to I want it to look better. I want to have
it still needs less random encounter battles.
Yeah, it needs to have at least a speed-up option in battles.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, Sega have a history of making very good decisions when it comes to their past works or any works. I don't know if you're all aware, but Sega of Europe have made the decision not to release Persona 5 over here, leaving it to Deep Silver because they were afraid it might hurt their brand.
Ooh.
How is that possible?
Blood is shooting out of my eyeballs right now.
I mean,
what?
How is
you
that
see a bad thing as it happens.
possible? How could that game possibly damage their brand?
Hey, they want to focus on Total War.
I've watched friends make very poor life decisions, and I always regret not jumping out in front of them and being like, no, don't marry her. Come on, don't do that to yourself. Like, and I feel like that's what I'm watching right now is Sega. Why would you tell me that, Robert?
But they'll have a new Sonic.
Oh, God. Is it going to be voiced by Jaleel White?
We can only hope.
Is he going to be really interested in chili dogs?
Is he still in jail? He went to jail a couple of years ago.
Wait, did he?
Yes,
What?
he did.
Urkel?
Yeah, Urkel's a bad boy.
Oh no, what did he do? Do I not want to know what he did? Like, is this...
domestic abuse.
Oh. But couldn't Laura like pick him
My
up?
childhood.
Like, I'm so
He's hench now. He's real hench.
Can I go back on a point you made earlier?
About Canadian bacon, or
Yeah, I don't call it that. We call it P-meal.
good night, everybody.
Which is also the ultimate profession of the new Danganronpa protagonist.
Oh God! All right, I think from there we need to stop. This is getting too wacky. Robert, you should be coming to MagFest because this would just get even wackier.
Oh, that'd be dope. But
Derek, I have Scotch glasses this year, so we're actually going to be able to like drink not out of
out of hotel room Dixie cups.
Yeah,
Red Solo cup.
I definitely swiped a glass from the bar so I could just start carrying around a glass at MagFest. And Steven was like, "Are you allowed to do that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I guess."
You were like, "No," but I did.
I was playing Dark Souls with a bunch of kids while drinking scotch. It was awesome.
Some Banabi 12-year-old burning a hole in the bottom of a paper cup.
It actually, like, the cup did start coming apart.
I liked when Robert and I went to the Atlas interview, and he was just slightly drunk.
Well, okay, to be fair, CD Projekt Red always has alcohol at their booth, and they had Polish beer, which was really, really strong, and I played some Gwent with Jesse, and I had a beer, and I'm a lightweight, so then I had the gift of gab for the rest of E3. That was really fun, and now we have MagFest to look forward to in just 2 weeks!
Oh, I can't wait.
So soon. We're probably gonna be at MagFest before we record another episode of this damn show.
Most likely! I'm getting in on Wednesday, so yeah.
I'll see you Wednesday. That Wednesday.
We're staying through Monday, and then we're gonna go to New York.
Oh, cool.
Oh.
Gonna ride a train.
Gonna ride a train.
Ooh.
I gotta get. Steph, am I picking you up from the airport? Should we work that out now, or?
I have a group of like 6. We're somehow we managed to connect in Chicago to 4 of our other friends who are going.
Oh,
So
okay, cool.
we're gonna all be on a flight together. So yeah.
Yeah, Jackie and I gotta decide if we're bringing 2 cars or not.
Oh jeez.
Well, I mean, it's just Maryland for us. Like that's not huge.
It's a little far from Arizona and even farther from London. Not
Yeah, it's also like 15 degrees outside right now, Derek. So fair warning. Like
I wore shorts and a t-shirt today because I was
I
hot.
hate you. I wore 5 layers today.
I'm wearing like arm warmers, like a sweater, super sweaty pants, and like just everything right
Well, that's
now.
because
It's gonna
you're
get
on the
down
wall.
to single digits this weekend.
Steph's on the wall from Game of Thrones right now. Like there are White Walkers and ice spiders below her. Like
True.
God, yeah,
Well,
that's what I'm encountering outside.
I'm sitting in gym shorts and a t-shirt with my window open because I'm so hot.
and on that note, I hate
All
all of
right,
you.
Derek was never heard from again on the podcast.
That's it.
I'm sorry that the flames of hell lick my cheeks every day.
Woo. Thank you, everybody, for listening to the podcast. Yeah, so thanks again, everybody. Be sure to subscribe to us on iTunes or through the RSS feed. For Caitlin, Derek, Robert, and Steph, I got confused because I'm like, I'm Robert. I'm huge ass. We will see you all later.
Bye.
Till next time.
Bye.
Later.